All right, good afternoon. I would like to go ahead and call to order the meeting, May 14th meeting of the Oklahoma Space Industry Development Authority. JW, could you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Chair Rolls.
Here.
Ms. Gurry.
Here.
General Lyman.
Here.
Mr. Schultz.
Here.
Mr. Henry.
Present.
And Mr. Siegfried.
Mr. Siegfried is absent, but notified us and has an excused absence for this meeting. Okay, noting that we have a quorum, we will continue with the business of the authority today. And first, I'd like to just note that this meeting is held in accordance with the Oklahoma Open Meeting Act, and all information has been posted as required by that act. And we'd like to take a moment to have our guests introduce themselves and just tell us who they're with and anything else of interest that you might like to share.
Jim Basher, General Manager for Agile Space Industries in Tulsa.
Excellent. And so you've had that role for how long now?
5 weeks.
Excellent, excellent. Well, very exciting to have you here. As we all know, Agile is opening a thruster testing facility in Tulsa, and that's really a great initiative for Oklahoma. So welcome. We're glad to have you and glad to have Agile in the Oklahoma ecosystem. All right. And
Michael Brinkley, Premium Aerospace Center.
okay, great. Thank you for being here.
Javier Neda, I'm also here with Premium Aerospace Center.
Excellent. Thank you all for coming. We always have good representation from your organization at our meetings, and we appreciate your presence. Okay, let's move on to our agenda items. Ms. Deidre?
Okay. There are minutes in your book, both from March 12th and then the special meeting on April 4th. They were sent out in advance. Did anybody have any edits or changes or problems with them? Otherwise, we need a motion.
Just a comment. Action items, I saw you guys have them listed, which is good, but let's work together to add some more detail to the current status as opposed to just listing the action items. Okay.
So like, are you looking for like started? Like what kind of detail are you looking for?
A little bit more detail other than just open or closed or pending, some detail on what progress has been made, that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and the on the April 4th meeting minutes, we have John, when we're talking about members and guests, John, we don't have his last name there, and it's Chappie. Yeah, so CHAIPPE, perhaps. We can look it up for sure, but we'll just make sure we know who. Yeah.
All right, if that's the only edit, is there a motion to approve?
We're doing them together.
Oh, you want to do them together?
No, well, I'm at that.
Oh, both of the meeting minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Are we're approving?
It's, yeah, because it's one line item in the
Okay.
agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, move to approve both the 4th of April and the March 12th meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Chair Rolls.
Yes.
Ms. Gurry.
Aye.
General Lyman.
Yes.
Mr. Schultz.
Aye.
And Mr. Henry.
Yes.
All right, very good. Moving on to item number 5, the treasurer's report.
All right, do you guys have a quick roll-up for us on the treasurer's report?
Absolutely. Just a general overview from March to the end of April. Our 497 account, which is our ARPA fund for our water projects. We expended $198,000 to Synergy for progress on their engineering. In the prep fund, we expended.
Hold on, are you reading from a document we have so that I can follow along with you?
No, ma'am.
Oh, no,
This
you
is
made
my
this one?
notes.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
The 386 fund, the prep fund, we made a notable expenditure of $1.9 million to ODAA. That is for the current
Radar.
current phase. This was not for the radar. This was actually progress on the apron project. Phase one. And then the general fund, our 2000 account, we are up $9,288 since the beginning of March. The airport account had a positive net flow of $21,000. I think that's partly due to a JUA payment. In the air park, the 215, we profited $29,000 from March to April. And our 400 federal fund remains the same.
Thank you so much. Any questions? If there's no,
Hearing none.
I'll move we accept it.
Second.
All right.
thank you.
Ms.
Yes.
Rawls,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes?
General Lyman,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Aye.
and Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you all. We've got the business out of the way there. Craig, the director's report.
All right, good things happen when we can tout our capabilities face to face, and that's when it's really useful to go to trade shows. The Space Symposium was always a good show, as you can see, or as you probably learned from other accounts. We had at least 10 really good meetings. The Lieutenant Governor attended the show with us this year again, and that's really helpful because that helps draw and adds a lot of credibility to your meetings when you bring an elected official to them. And we're really excited about that. We had 10 really good meetings. We're doing some follow-up with some of those. Some of those were just kind of meet and greets just to make the connection. But those are always really good and to get our face in front of companies that heretofore may not have known about Oklahoma and our assets here. Following that, the Paris Air Show is coming up in June. That's June 14 through 21. Dawn Aerospace will be attending with the OSIDA team. There's a number of events there's about 70 plus with the Oklahoma delegation going, including the Lieutenant Governor and the Governor are supposed to both be there. We have at least 6 elected officials that are planning to attend as well. So there'll be a good cross mix of policymakers that will be there. If you'll recall, it was the Farnborough Air Show 4 years ago that we started the PrEP project. And that's how I sat with Speaker Hilbert, and we had a good conversation during one of the bus rides to Farnborough, because it's about an hour drive away. And that was kind of the genesis for the PrEP project coming to OSIDA. So good things happen when you have that face-to-face time with some of the policymakers. And again, Dawn will be a significant focus at the Paris Air Show. They plan to do their larger, more robust announcement prior to and at the air show. We're having a booth reception one of the days at the air show, and it'll be all about Dawn. It's typically the governor will host a breakfast on Sunday morning at the Paris Air Show, the day before the show begins. They will be there. The show is actually, the breakfast is actually sponsored by another one of our tenants, Kratos. And Kratos will get the full focus of the breakfast that morning, but we intend to have a meeting with the Dawn folks and the governor either prior to the breakfast or right afterward. I don't know that he's been briefed entirely. I know his staff has, but I don't know that he's met face-to-face with any of the Dawn team yet, but this will be a really great opportunity to do that. Then on the booth reception on Tuesday, it's expected that the Lieutenant Governor will be there for that one, and of course the policymakers that are selected to go as well. So that will be usually well attended. They'll bring speakers and microphones in for that presentation, and usually draws quite a few folks that'll come and come by the booth. They'll see some activity taking place. There'll be TV screens all around the booth. I'll send some pictures of previous trade show booths to you later to show what that looks like. Each booth is probably about 40 by 40, and maybe even larger than that. And there'll be kiosks within the booth with television cameras and with TVs so that companies can tout their capabilities, and they'll all be focused on Dawn to that particular event. So great opportunity to tout what Dawn is going to bring to Oklahoma to help make us one of the busiest spaceports in the world. The ARPA and PrEP update, I wanted to touch base a little bit on the monies that we're spending. I think I've got it. So the fiber build out, we've been working to try to get fiber throughout the the air park and industrial park, and where we can't stretch fiber to, the objective is to do wireless bridges. And that's what a certain large aviation company that's there this week is utilizing for their high speed to their particular hangar. But you can see on the red route is a path that'll take from the north of our airport campus all the way down to the south, the furthest point south that we have planned right now. And we're working with, we've got, yesterday I think they had fiber boxes installed in hangars 231 and 232, which are the ones that face south, and then we're going to continue on down the apron, and then we'll take it as far south as you see that last box at Apron 3 Road. Our maintenance building is just a little bit further south than that, but we plan to provide them that building internet through a wireless bridge. So fiber won't actually run to that. On a related note, we actually have the radars that we purchased for our detect and avoidance capability for Kratos Aerospace. We're actually going to have to put fiber to that because they're going to be stationary radar, and they want to have electricity to it, and they want to have fiber to it. So we're actually going to, using that ARPA, or using that prep money, they're going to actually extend fiber to that particular location, which will be pretty close to our maintenance building. So we might be able to do a bridge, just connect the building and have fiber to that far south on the apron as well. This is kind of a picture of the crew that's on site. This crew was, it's Telco. This is on the statewide contract. OMES connected us to them. So they're laying fiber into the groundwork for us. And then they recommended a particular provider that will provide the internet. But this fiber will belong to OSIDA, and then we would work with what do you call it? An ISP, an internet service provider, to provide the last bit of data to whoever wants it at that end. But it'll go through our fiber, and we would get payments for usage of that. So that's what. I'm not sure what else is on this slide here. Okay. And then on the facilities update, it's basically talking about the fiber and what we're doing there. It's kind of an interesting thing on our facilities update too. We were doing a walk around the park, and we were noticing all the different contractors that are on site. And we got to asking the question about how many are out here right now. And because of all the projects, it's taken us about 2.5 years to get all these to finally trigger and get all the design and engineering done. And they all just showed up this spring. We had a couple of showed up in last winter, but as of this spring, on any particular day, you have between 133 and 175 contractors, contract workers on site representing at least 7 different contractors. So it's pretty remarkable. The restaurants and the convenience stores in town are telling us that they're seeing some faces that they hadn't seen before, and they're getting numbers that they hadn't seen before. So if you got Scodeller, which is doing the pavement work for us right now, there's probably about 15 to 20 workers associated with them. Rudy Construction, they're one of subcontractors for Scodeller, about 5 to 7. Third Generation Electric, that's the project we just started. That's the second phase, but for whatever reason, for phase 3. But they've been out since, I think they've been there since sometime in early April, working on putting the new electrical line in to be able to pull out our old copper wire electricity that's been there since the 50s. Wind construction, that's our ARPA project. That's our ARPA. That is, again, that's a project we planned to spend about $4 million on, and the actual figures came in about $5.4 million. And so they've got about 3 to 5 workers right now. They're putting some, I've got a scene here of some of the work that they're performing for us. That's the pavement projects right there. The pink is the current, or no, where is pink? That's 4, okay. The orange is the current project. The second project is the green, the main runway. That's the one that's supposed to start in May, but we've had to bump it back. And then the yellow is one of the ones that you're going to hear today. That's the proposal for that phase. But that's some of the projects that we've got going on, some of the pavement contractors. Scodeller has the orange and the green, and then you're going to see a contract today for the yellow. I'd hoped. Well, let's go ahead and use these slides while we're here. So I talked about the radar avoidance, the detection a while ago, and that they brought the equipment on site. These are the radars. This is what we've got, the money that was the legislature provided us as part of our PrEP funding. There's a designation of a particular number for that. This board approved that back in November. And this is what it bought. It bought 3 of these types of radars here. They came on site last week. And as you can tell, they're mobile. 2 of them will be affixed at this site and will be hard fixed here. And then another one will be set out, I think in Cheyenne, I think is where they're going to put it. And it creates a small pathway for the fire jet and vehicles of that size to be able to have a detect and avoidance capability in a particular area. You're going to see an agenda item today asking for phase 2, which will buy some more of these. They wanted to, ODAA is our agent on this particular project. It took quite a while to get these radars ordered and in place, and so they wanted to get ahead of that curve. They said it's about 6 to 9 months, and they'd like to have this project in place by the end of the calendar year. So they went to their board this morning asking for money for phase 2 to buy some more of these radars, and you're going to see that agenda item later this afternoon, so that we can get those ordered, and that will give a bigger racetrack for companies like Kratos. And this particular vehicle would be for the Valkyrie and vehicles of that size. And so that's one of the projects we're working on, but it's really exciting to see this equipment arrive on site. We'll spend a little bit more money of that PrEP funding to be able to put electrical to these locations and fiber to these locations as well. And once they're in place, they'll turn them on and they'll be operational. So they'll be accessible to anybody that wants to look at that link, and certainly our guys in the control tower. This will be useful data for Vigilant Aerospace to collect in the meantime as they prepare to do some of the larger projects that they want to do and larger testing that they want to do, and then other companies as well. So this is a great step forward for the state of Oklahoma. Of course, the ARPA project, I touched on that just a moment ago. It began on March 17. It's projected to last about a year. Again, that was estimated at $4 million. The actual price came in about 5.4. And again, here's the rundown of the contractors that are on site. Between 133 and 175 workers working these. I calculated this is about, of our projects, probably about $13.5 to $14 million in projects, as you see here. The last one there is a project that Premium Aerospace is working. I'm not sure what the numbers are on that, but significantly, or probably equal to that, or maybe a little bit more. So there's about $30 million taking place in construction projects at the spaceport right now. Finally. And again, here's kind of the figures, what we're trying to work toward. And utilize $15 million toward pavement upgrades and electrical. That's that figure. The second bullet is the figure I was telling you about, the radar capabilities. And $6.5 million that we've got for some hangar development. I've got a slide that'll kind of show what we're trying to do as far as building a small general aviation taxiway and some box hangars. One of those box hangars will be for Dawn Aerospace. The other will be for Kratos. They've got a large hangar, but they don't really need all that much space, and so they're looking for something a little smaller. And then we have a couple of tenants that are asking for some hangar space as well, that even if they don't utilize it, we'll be able to market those. And the idea is with that taxiway, that'll lead us to some capabilities or some property that we can add additional box hangars, and maybe at one point some T hangars, which are something that small aircraft owners just want a place to store their plane. They don't want to work on it there or anything like that. This is some of the pictures of the pavement work taking place. That's the Premium Aerospace hangar in the background, but this is all the spall and repair project taking place between here and there, trying to smooth that pavement out, remove some of those FOD challenges. This is right behind our building, and this is the right on the edge of the yellow project that you're going to see and vote on later this afternoon. Where Scadella is working on some pavement improvements. That's some asphalt in there. Asphalt in the heat on a heavy plane, you're going to see some sinkage. They're going to try to address that as well and do some repairs on this particular project. This is what I was going to tell you about. This is a part of our water project. Currently, our water project throughout the entire park, if there's a break in a line somewhere, the whole system has to shut down, and we've experienced that, unfortunately, a couple of times. That it just puts every one of our tenants and our customers in an awkward situation where they don't have water to flush or run water or do whatever the services they need. So part of our water project was to install shut-off valves throughout the park. And this is one that's located right behind our offices. But I think we've got between 9 and 12 scheduled to be planted in the park. So if there's going to be a construction in one particular part of the park, they can turn the water off to that section without affecting everybody else in the industrial park. So they've been those queued up. This is another part of that ARPA project. There's a building just to the south of ours that contained 2 really huge water pumps from the 50s. We're having those dismantled and removed, and we're putting some brand new state-of-the-art water pumps that are highly efficient and will do a lot better job for us, and certainly increase our longevity on our water system. I don't know what else I've got down here. We need to bring a. So this slide kind of depicts. And I'll show you what I'm intending, working to do. And this is another agenda item. This is a company called Garver Engineering. And if you look on your screens, this area right here is where we want to build the taxiway, right in between the yellow boxes. That I don't know what that shape is, but that'd be an asphalt taxiway that leads off the main apron and kind of points to the east. And these yellow boxes there are proposed box hangars. The large one on the left is what we probably put our Don Aerospace team in. Yeah, that's Don, and this would be Kratos back here, and this would be the taxiway, and we'd build more boxes back here, and then some T-hangers out in this location out here. You'll
I'm
appreciate
familiar.
this back.
Yeah.
You don't know what that looks like. And then the blue, or the building with the white line in the middle, that's our headquarters building. So there's proposal two that we build a new terminal building for the spaceport, and that's the blue box. We wanted to get, we've actually been working with the engineers and architects on that, so we can get the footprint of the terminal building where we would probably put it. We don't have funding for it yet, but we wanted to get the footprint of the terminal building laid out such that then we could know exactly where to put the box hangers and the taxiway. And with that, I'll conclude my
Thank you.
remarks. I know
Well,
Matt is waiting.
Photos are always very helpful to see the progress and what's going on. And as you said, it's taken some amount of time to get these projects started with all the engineering studies and detailed planning that must occur. So I think the fact that you've got so much in progress, that's really commendable and exciting for the spaceport.
And switching, we had to switch some engineers too. We had some engineers on site, and then we took some back and
Yeah.
rehired some more, and
Yeah.
all through that process
Yeah.
was pretty lengthy.
Yeah, it's not ever linear, for sure. For sure. Any questions for Craig? Okay, well, thank you very much, Craig. And we will move on to agenda item number 7, Artemis Group update.
Matt, are you online?
Can you guys hear me?
We
Yeah.
can now, yes, sir.
All right. Hello, Matt.
Hello, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Doing pretty well.
Good.
Sorry I couldn't be there in person, but excited to give the update nonetheless. Are you ready for me, Brenda?
We are ready, yes.
Okay. So good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity. The Artemis Group, we're really excited and continue to build real momentum in our efforts to grow Oklahoma's space presence. I'd like to highlight a few major developments. Obviously, we had a very productive series of meetings at the recent Space Symposium in Colorado Springs. I think the level of interest in Oklahoma's capabilities and what OSIDA and our partners are building here was incredibly encouraging. We're seeing real traction with both established space companies and emerging players. We're making significant progress with Dawn Aerospace as they advance their efforts to fly the Aurora space plane from Burns Flat. It's a complex and exciting project, and we sincerely appreciate the continued support and vision of the OSIDA board. Your leadership is making a real difference, and we're looking forward to some exciting announcements on this front in the near future. I'm also particularly thrilled to share that Agile Space has made their first Oklahoma hire. Jim Basher is now on the board, or is now on board as the manager of the Tulsa testing facility, and he's here with us today to provide the direct update, so I'll yield most of my time to him. It's a major step forward in bringing advanced propulsion R&D to the state. Also at Space Symposium, we had several strategic conversations focused on microgravity research capabilities in Oklahoma. There's a growing interest in this domain. We're positioning the state to become a leader in both short-term duration microgravity, measured in seconds or minutes, as well as longer duration research initiatives. As part of this strategy, we've begun early discussions with a company called Zero G, which provides microgravity flight experiences using a specially modified Boeing 727. These flights are primarily used for scientific research, technology testing, astronaut training, and STEM education. Zero G is the only FAA-approved provider of commercial parabolic flight in the United States, and their capabilities represent a unique and proven platform for microgravity access. We see real potential in bringing Zero G flights to Oklahoma. Integrating Zero G into our broader vision for space in the state will anchor Oklahoma as a hub for microgravity science and workforce development, while also drawing national attention and economic activity to our state. So that's the update from the Artemis Group. I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. And then we're going to hear about the progress of Agile.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
As Chris Pearson, our CEO, likes to say, I'm the newly minted GM for Agile here in Tulsa. Good news is I'm not new to Tulsa. I've been in Tulsa for about 10 years. Actually live in Broken Arrow, so still the Tulsa area. And actually my wife's family, her mother was born in Sapulpa, grew up in Salisaw. We got a lot of roots in the Oklahoma area, so this is home for us. So it's good to support something like Agile coming in and helping develop the space industry in Oklahoma. I think it's great. Especially I've spent 10 years or 20 years in oil and gas, serving a lot of the primes, Helmerich and Payne, NOV, Halliburton, a lot of the companies that we have here in Oklahoma, and then I spent 10 years in consulting with various smaller companies. So I think I bring a good mix of experience and skills to this, because we're going to be dealing with a lot of the major primes for other parts of the space industry for rocket engines. And I think providing that type of level of service experience is something that's going to be good for Agile to the industry. The good news is we also hired our first, our technical manager that will be relocating to Tulsa. He comes from Rocketdyne Aerojet with 18 years specifically in chemical engine rocket testing. So he's going to be moving to Oklahoma, and he's going to bring a lot of experience, not only to Agile in Tulsa, but to Agile as a whole. We're very excited about him relocating. Our third hire is going to be our operations manager, and he'll be also responsible for the development of the facility. And our leading candidate right now has had about 10 or 11 years at SpaceX, but he's actually a native of Owasso. He and his wife went to high school there together. And he's a graduate from University of Tulsa. So bringing some of that Oklahoma blood back out of Texas, would like to do that. We're also into finalizing all the lease stuff for the airport, trying to get that land locked in there. It's going to be a great facility, a great location for us. And we're also starting to talk to a lot of the general contractors in the Tulsa area to help us get that building up and running. So we're trying to develop the test facility and the building facility at the same time, as well as the third leg is talking to all the key accounts that could be potential clients for this. Because it's a little bit interesting, because Agile, I'm sure as you're aware, it started as a test facility, went into designing its own engines, used all of our own internal capacity for our own engines, but after the last two space symposiums, and I was able to join the space symposium my second week of employment. So you get literally thrown into deep end real quick. But with the Artemis Group and Craig and everybody, it was a fantastic experience for me. But it was obviously clear the need in the industry is just tremendous. So, I told the Agile team, I said, look, we're saying 18 and 24 months, we got to figure out how to do this faster. So that's my objective is to try to figure out how quickly we can get this done, but still talking to the key customers to understand not only exactly what their test requirements are today, but also in the future to make sure we're positioning ourselves for the long-term support of the space industry in Tulsa.
Excellent.
That's my update. Thank you.
Well, that's great, and I think going to Space Symposium your second week of work is, it's like the cherry on top of everything else, so.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
That's great.
I have a materials engineering degree, so I got my engineering degree in materials. But ironically, I actually started my career off in aerospace
Oh.
as a college student. So it's kind of
Interesting.
like full circle for me, so.
Yeah, well,
very
and speaking with Dave Cuthbertson, so he had an oil and gas
Yes.
background, so, and it made a lot of sense why that type of discipline is very helpful in what you're doing, because it's very complex, a lot of chemicals, a lot of
Yeah,
sophisticated equipment.
absolutely. There is
Yeah.
a tremendous amount of synergies between the two
Yeah.
from a people standpoint, and we're looking forward to tapping into that as much as possible.
Yeah,
And hopefully I don't make my friends at H&P too bad, mad at me, but I'm sure they'll understand.
yeah, I'm sure they will.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. All right, thank you. Is Matt gone, or Matt's probably gone? Okay, then we won't officially say goodbye. Okay, moving on to item 8, discussion and possible action to renew the contract with the Artemis Group. So Craig sent out an updated contract in the last couple of days. I believe it is the same as previous years, just the dates have been changed to reflect 2025 into 2026.
Exactly. I think the only difference will be that the billing folks you'll see it under a different name. It'll be under, rather than instead of JB Solutions, it'll under be the Artemis Group, so everything else is the same. It's been a good relationship for us, as you can
Yeah.
tell,
Yeah.
from some of the reports that we've had at previous meetings, and so it'd be my recommendation to continue.
Yeah, I think the relationship with the Artemis Group has helped OSIDA fulfill some of its mission with more robust action, and that's really becoming a game changer for OSIDA and for the state. Anyone have any questions? Discussion? Okay, I would entertain a motion about this proposal.
Move for approval.
And would there be a second?
I'll second.
Okay, great. And no more discussion? Okay, great.
Chair Rolls,
Yes.
Ms. Gurry,
Aye.
General Lyman,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Aye.
and Mr. Henry.
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Another year of exciting growth is on the horizon, no doubt. Literally on the horizon. Okay, moving on then to item 9, an MOU with Southwestern Oklahoma State University. And I believe Craig provided that via email maybe last week or early yesterday. Okay, well, I got a
But there was a-
draft, and then we did an update, and now, okay. So yes, did anyone have any questions about the MOU?
This is a great relationship. We've had a good relationship since I've been on board. I don't know what it was prior to this, but working with Dr. Diana Lovell, the president of SWASU, and I know a number of other staff at the college and leadership. We've done tours with them. They've brought folks over to us. The rocketry team's done some exhibits out or done some activities out at the spaceport. And we certainly want to continue to engage with them and make some connections. They've got an engineering tech program that that they basically take the design plans of engineers and they put them together. And a lot of it is some good Western Oklahoma ingenuity added to an incredible academic complement to help some of these young people. And if you'll hear Dr. Lovell speak about the assets that SWASU has, that they've had somebody working in some space program since the 1960s has been a graduate or affiliated in some form or fashion with SWASU. So it's pretty remarkable. And some of their engineering tech teams have won national competitions. I was just talking to Dr. Kinder this morning. Their most recent got 4th in the world, beating schools like Purdue and MIT and organizations throughout the world. So they've got a pretty They got a pretty neat thing over there. So it's a great opportunity to continue the partnership and then to put it into a memorandum of understanding so we can codify it or put it into some language that will be beneficial, and then we'll be able to tout each other in this regard.
Yes.
Does OSIDA have agreements, similar agreements with any other educational institutions?
Not that I'm familiar with. If we did, it was before my time.
Okay, just curious, because I suspect there are others that would love to model that, so I think it's a good news story.
Yeah, it's a good, easy first step to open the door for lots. And I'll be glad to work with the board and others to try to anybody listening, that we're welcome and very interested in doing exactly this.
And you make a good point, because as the space economy in Oklahoma expands, it's not just the spaceport in Burns Flat, but there's Agile in Tulsa. There are other activities going on within the state, other universities that might be in proximity to those different operations that would be really highly relevant. Because I can envision students going out as Don gets up and going at the spaceport, and there would be a number of learning opportunities, and hands-on is always incredibly valuable.
Yeah, and if we can get space manufacturing across the state, there'd be lots of places for those students to go.
Absolutely. They can come to, no, I won't do a commercial for Frontier, but anyway, okay. All right, so,
I'll make a motion to approve the MOU.
thank you.
Second.
Second?
Oh,
No, it's okay, it's okay.
Lots of enthusiasm.
a lot of enthusiasm there, okay.
Gerald.
Yes,
Aye.
General Lyman,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Aye.
and Mr. Henry.
Yes.
excellent, thank you very much. Moving on to item 11. Discussion.
Wait, you skipped 10.
Oh, I thought I checked off 10 too quickly. Okay, back to number 10. Thank you all very much for keeping me straight. Discussion and possible action regarding the royalty agreement involving Dawn Aerospace, OSIDA, and the Oklahoma Department of Commerce. And I believe you all received a copy of that document as well. Craig, is there anything you would like to say, or Bailey? No? Okay. Anyone have any questions about that agreement? Okay, I think it's a good way for the state. The state is making a significant investment, and this is a good way for the state to be able to share in the benefits of that investment on down the road. So it seems very positive from my point of view. Bailey worked very, very hard. Bailey has worked so hard on the whole Dawn program, and we give her kudos for doing that. Thank you for seeing it through to the end here, Bailey.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All right.
Who's my second?
Either one.
Either one.
Take your pick.
Double second.
Gerald.
Yes.
Ms. Gurry?
Aye.
General Lyman,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Aye.
and Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Okay, now I can officially cross off 10, and we will move to 11. Discussion and possible action regarding reimbursement to ODAA for the next phase payment of the rehab project along the North Taxiway.
Let me get the slide up so we can look once again what we're discussing here. Okay. So, again, ODAA acts as our agent on this. In the past, we'd always worked with OMES. There's some efficiencies that can be had be working with ODAA. They know airports. They know how to do these projects. And so they did the bid process. They put the contract out for bid. They selected the entities, and they reviewed the bids, and you can see that in your packet. You can see what the engineer's estimate on that was going to be. You can see what the actual cost was going to be. The engineer's estimate was, the font on this is absolutely incredible. Is that 2.5? Let me see there, Jay. Yeah, roughly 2.5, and it actually came in at 3.1. So you can see already that many of these projects, as we've experienced in the past, have come in much higher materials, just the anticipation of what these various projects cost. So again, ODA is the lead on this. They've queued it up. I'm trying to get ahead of that. I think they approved this on their agenda meeting this morning, and what they will do is they put it all together, then they will invoice us for the price. So they'll pay for it up front, and then they'll send us an invoice. And so this is the approval to pay that invoice when they send it to us. So we'll see a figure of 3.133485. That'll include the 2.79 of the construction and 336,400 for the construction, administration, and inspection costs.
Thank you for the information.
Oh, and I'm sorry, this is the yellow portion. So the orange portion is what's being worked on right now. The remainder of that is the taxiway that takes you all the way up to the Hammerhead and to the entrance of 17. R, 17R.
Okay.
Do you know what kind of plan they have now, with the orange section being under construction? A big aircraft can taxi down the runway and then turn around in the yellow Hammerhead. When the yellow section is down, how are big aircraft going to use the entire runway?
So the orange section should be completed here in the next few weeks.
Okay.
So,
But they won't be able to, if they back taxi on the runway, which probably doesn't mean anything, if they go from the orange into the runway and then turn towards, in this picture, the left, and they get down to the end of the runway, they're pointing the wrong direction. And if the yellow is shut down, they can't turn around in the yellow to get back out on the runway for the full length. So are we planning on using only partial length for that time, and do our customers know that?
so I can get an answer for you on that. I don't have the answer right now. And some of the projects may be concurrent, so I believe this phase will probably begin during the shutdown of the main runway.
Okay.
So there'll be a portion of time that it won't be
Okay.
available at all. But
I think this is definitely something that we need to plan for, and if we don't have the full use of the runway, we need to make sure that people know about it, that it's coming.
Absolutely. I'll make a note of that.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, I would entertain a motion if anyone is so inclined.
Motion?
Seconded.
There's a lot of competition on this board today. Okay, all right,
Gerald's.
yes.
Ms. Gray,
Aye.
General Liner,
Aye.
Mr. Schultz,
Aye.
and Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, now we'll move on to item number 12. Discussion, possible usage of, regarding the OSIDA STEM account.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about STEM
Excellent.
and our STEM funds, and how we can reach students all across Oklahoma. So according to Craig here, and I believe you, we used to have about, what was it, $1 million in funding for STEM, and over the years, that has been used appropriately, which is great. And now we have about $160,000 left in that account that's just kind of sitting there. And we have lots of programs across the state that are in need, and we can really have that touch point to our students and get them involved in space. General Alignment's done some research with me on this, and I just want to kind of give you an idea, because right now you're thinking, okay, sure, there's kids out there that are doing STEM, right? My world of how this is going across Oklahoma opened up when I got to visit the Starbase that's at Burns Flats. But there are 4 Starbase programs across Oklahoma. So Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Burns Flat, and Fort Sill. And I've only been able to visit the one, but I'm sure they all have the same type of program. They are a DoD-funded program. However, it goes through the National Guard, and then it is an Oklahoma Air National Guard program. So what happens is the Oklahoma Air National Guard will fund these programs, and then the federal money comes in. If the federal money doesn't cover it, it all falls on the Oklahoma National Guard. So it is funded by Oklahoma in part when there's overfall. But let's talk about what they do. So like Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and Fort Sill, 5th graders 1,600 fifth graders in all 3 of those go through this program during the course of the year. They get bussed in for a week, they have an entire week worth of training, and they're at the Starbase locations. The Burns Flat one is smaller, they have 800 children. Then, it doesn't just stop when school stops. They also have 4 summer camps that have 30 kids each throughout the summer. They're required to do a number of outreach programs, between 4 and 8 outreach programs where they'll go to Kiwanis, libraries, and stuff like that. And then they also have after-school programs that they have to cover for 6th graders that get about 20 hours per school year. So these programs are way more involved in the students than we realize. There's a lot of kids out there that are attending these and having that. And I don't have a lot of information on the other programs that General Lyman had found, but I imagine they're just as big, right? And there's just as much there. So I don't want to say, hey, let's just give our money to these places that we have, but right now, we don't have a good way for them to request funding from us. I have been personally contacted by the Burns Flat Starbase that said, hey, we really need some funding. We think there's going to be a big shortfall this year because of all the changes in the administration, things that are happening right now that haven't really equalized yet. So I already know that there is a need, at least there, and I know they've talked to Craig before. So what I would like to propose is I would like to volunteer to assist Craig in coming up with within just the next few weeks, an actual application process, and then send that out to at least the places that we know. If they want to fill it out and send it back, they can. And then Craig and I can go through those, and then we can present to you at the next board meeting a recommendation on some of the funding. Not to deplete it completely, but Craig and I can work on this program and kind of have at least a general recommendation to the board, and they have actually provided us specific information in the application process. That's my proposal today.
Move for approval.
Yeah.
Second.
Agreed. I would say, let's look to use it all up, because it's been sitting for a while, so let's get it out there where it can do some good.
Absolutely.
And then I think there's also, as you look at creating a process for us, there's likely processes within other organizations like ODAA or others that we could either piggyback on or mirror, partner with, et cetera, to make this easier.
Right.
And we can use their, whatever their process is, to put out a request for proposal, if you will, so that folks get notified that, hey, we've got this STEM money to give out. So take that into account as you look. But I think it's a great idea for us to get going on this.
Absolutely. And then, once this money is expended, is there a way that it refills? Do we get any other funding?
No,
or
it
was a
doesn't, and that's
one-time?
why I would hesitate to get rid of all of it, because we don't know what other program, let's say Southwest OU needs, they go, hey, we are so close to this, but we need an extra $10,000. That's the only reason I say maybe we shouldn't deplete the entire
Yeah,
thing,
fair
because we don't have a backfill right now.
Where did this money come from originally, Craig? Do we know? Was it from the state? Was it a federal grant? Was it
It was
a
federal.
grant?
It was a federal grant.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Excellent.
Well,
Well, it's
well
very
then
exciting.
part 2 of this is maybe,
How to get-
and this is the step after this, is how do we get more funds to put into the account in order to continue
Right.
doing this sort of work?
Right. If we can get some successful after-action reports from the money that goes out, I think we could support
Yeah.
some requests.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Excellent. Very good. Yes.
Ms. Gurry,
Aye.
General Lyman,
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Aye.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. That's very exciting, and thank you for doing the work and the research, and
Thank you.
investing in the future.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's what my passion is.
I know, exactly. That's perfect. Okay, moving on, agenda item number 13, I believe we're going to table today.
Well, we don't have an agreement yet. We're still working toward that, so I want to be able to have the
Okay.
board have enough time to review any information that we put in that so they can approve it. And we're still working toward that.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And then we are not addressing item 14. We'll move on to item 15. Discussion and possible action regarding the agreement with ODAA, Garver and Associates for Engineering on the taxiway development and hangar design and subsequent reimbursement to ODA.
I'm sorry, can we go back just a
Yes.
second? Because it does say discussion. Can you give us an update on where you are on bullets 13 and 14?
On 13, we're still in negotiations. There's some other leases that they're seeking. One's an aircraft parking lease to be able to park aircraft, to be able to do some MRO and store aircraft. We've got that contract in front of them now. And then this project, this particular one, we're still working on details. We've gotten pretty close on some matters. We had a discussion yesterday, and so I think those proposals are in front of the PAC team right now. And so we'll see where that progresses. Seems to be going in a positive general direction. A head nod right there. All right, so.
And what's the roofing thing? I hadn't heard that one yet.
So the roofing thing, we put a roof on their original hangar in 2020, 22. It's an original hangar that had an add-on put on it in probably the 80s or 90s. And as you can surmise, where you have that connection, there's just always going to be some challenges there. And we put bids out a number of years ago, and the current contractor has put a coating over it and actually put about 3 different coatings on it. They've tried at least 3 times trying to rectify it, and then still, when you get a deluge, what we sometimes do get in southwest Oklahoma, remarkably, Director Schultz, they do still have some leakage in there, and that's their main hangar. That's their toolbox hangar. So that's one that we've tried to address. The roofer, to the roofer's credit, and I'll give you the name of the roofer after this meeting. They're solid, trying to do the right thing, and they're working with us, and they've come back a number of times to try to repair that. We reached out to the statewide contract list, and there's a company on there that provided us a bid. It's significant, and so we're not sure that is going to actually resolve the problem, so we may go back and maybe do bids or go back to see what other companies may be on the statewide contract. So I'm not pleased with what we're seeing right now, and if that is a solution, and I'm trying to find a solution rather than.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, that's perfect. Thank you very much for asking. Thank you. Okay, moving on now to item 15. ODAA Garver and Associates for the engineering on the taxiway development, hangar design, and then reimbursement to ODAA.
And again, this is a contract that goes through the Department of Aerospace and Aeronautics. They are, again, our agent on this particular one. This is one of the engineers of record that we have. We've got 4 that work for us to do design on various things. We've got one that does pavement. We've got one that does general engineering. We've got one that does electrical. We've got one that does water. So this particular one is a design engineering firm, and they are the ones that, where is that slide, that designed this for us. And they'll be doing the work for us on designing that taxiway and the box hangars. ODAA has the contract with them, and we expect that they'll be sending us an invoice for their services before very long, so I want to get ahead of that and make sure that we have board approval for the figures that they'll be submitting that for that, and that is the amount of this is for Garver and Associates, $149,500. And that's in your board packet.
Mm-hmm.
We've not received that yet, but we expect we'll be receiving that, so I want to just get approval beforehand.
Yeah. Any questions? Discussion? Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Is there a discussion? Is there hesitance?
I'm sorry, I thought you seconded it. My fault.
I can't, actually.
Everybody's fighting with the second ones before.
You're right. Okay. Any other discussion on this? Okay, go ahead.
Chair Rolls,
Yes.
Ms. Gurry,
Aye.
General Lyman,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Aye.
and Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. Moving on to item 16. Discussion and possible action regarding Phase 2 of the Unmanned Aircraft System Contract Award with Vigilant Aerospace Systems and ODAA.
So this is one that I saw on the ODA agenda yesterday when it was posted. They hadn't reached out to us yet, but as it reads, they are looking to begin Phase 2 of the contract that we have with them. And for radar infrastructure and airspace management, that's the radars that you saw earlier. So that one day we can hopefully get beyond visual line of sight. When companies like Kratos do services here and testing here, they have to have a chase jet in the sky with them. That doubles my risk. And so this radar technology, which we hope to have in place by the end of the calendar year. I think ODA, when they saw how long it took for these radars to be manufactured and delivered, wanted to get ahead of it. And so they put before their board this morning a request to go ahead and purchase the radars and get that process rolling so that those hopefully can be.
Wasn't the point of the other radars that they were mobile?
They are. They'll be located, and they're on those trailers, so even the ones we have fixed here, they can hook them to a hitch and take it to wherever they need to be. Phase 3 will be statewide utilization. Phase 1 and Phase 2 will be focused solely on Clinton Sherman in the space.
And what was the difference between Phase 1 and Phase 2? Phase 1 we previously approved, as I recall.
It is, yeah. Phase 1 is the one we approved either, I can't remember if it was November or January,
Yeah.
because it's part of the monies that we got through PrEP to pay for this particular project. And Phase 1 is for, if you've been to Kratos or you've seen what they operate with, the Firejet, which is a smaller,
Yep.
it's a little bit longer than this table, but it has mock capability. But they need a racetrack to be able to do some testing and to show their customers the capabilities. And then with these additional radars, we're buying 3 more radars. We'll expand that racetrack for the Valkyrie system, which is probably about twice as long as this table.
I see. So Phase 1 is the initial racetrack, Phase 2 expands.
Exactly.
Understood.
And not
Okay.
just for this particular company, other companies that want to utilize this racetrack or this capability
Yep.
will be able to utilize the spaceport as well. And spaceport will be the utilizer of these services.
Where else do they use this in the country?
Probably nowhere. Now, North Dakota's got a space or a drone port. I'm not sure what their capabilities are up there. They use some of this technology, the DTECT. These are DTECT radars that are, if you want to flip over, yeah, these are DTECT, the letter D, TECH, or T, I'm not sure. But
And what are we approving today?
this is, ODA will send us an invoice for this 1.748,
Systems to
576.
expand the radar beyond what was in-
I don't think I saw this in any packet, that's all. I didn't see this anywhere. Did you send this to us?
So it came through yesterday, so it may have been in the one I sent out last night. Did I send one yesterday? Yes. Sent that yesterday at 1:54. So yeah, the contract in there is for, and again, this is already paid for. The board's already approved the utilization of these funds. This is funding that came from the legislature specifically for these purposes. And we went through this discussion in November and January. We've got this money. The legislature gave it to us to put this technology in place. ODAA is the one that did the contracts.
But we haven't even proved that Phase 1 is even going to work, right?
I guess not.
It's not unusual, it's just mobile radars.
I get it, but
They are radar. They are, the objective is to get BVLS. It's not worked anywhere else. Nobody else has been able to achieve that. This is Oklahoma's effort to try to accomplish that goal.
and it's for how much?
1.748576.
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay. Any more questions, discussion? Okay, very good.
Chair Rolls.
Yes.
Ms. Gurry,
Nay.
General Lyman,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Aye.
and Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Very good, thank you. All right, concluding board member comments regarding any agenda items. No? Okay.
Once again, a full agenda that doesn't talk about mowing grass or fixing water leaks.
Isn't that nice?
Almost.
Yeah.
Talks about actual development of space.
It's been a long time coming for you, hasn't it? Yeah. Well, it's great. There's a lot of progress. So one comment I would just make, our next regularly scheduled meeting is July 9th at 1:30 here. However, there is a bill pending in the legislature that might impact OSIDA, and if, depending on what happens with that bill, then we might schedule a special meeting in June to be able to address any issues that we need to.
I'll have the STEM stuff figured out by then.
Perfect. We'll add it to the agenda.
So that was July 9th. I had it in my calendar as the 16th. I guess I had that wrong.
Yeah. Oh, you have it on the 16th?
What have I got?
Okay, usually the second, okay.
Usually the second, we bumped it because of the Independence Day holiday.
Okay. I was just reading what I had here.
So
You're
what's-
right, we
What's
did
the
bump it.
correct date?
16.
Okay.
16th. I think we discussed that before. No, you're good. Okay, well, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Yes.
Ms. Gurley?
Aye.
General Lyman?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Aye.
And Mr. Henry?
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned.